Make an assessment of the game from your side, how the game went for you, and also you had 6 debutants. If you could spare a couple of words about them, how did you like their game? And it was the first captaincy for Casey, so if you could make an assessment of these aspects, and what were the weak sides for you in the Georgian team?
Right. Yeah, I thought it was a really good performance by us. We're very happy. We've been following Georgia for a few years. I've coached against Georgia on the 20s level, and I've lost to them. I played in the World Cup game in 2007 when we nearly lost to them. I know their coaches. I'm good friends with Roddy Grant, so I'd be very aware of how good a team they are and how much they've been developing. I've seen their results in the last few years, and potentially, this was going to be the biggest game of some of these players' lives if they'd beaten us. So we were really conscious of how tough it was going to be. We probably prepared for a certain type of conditions for the last 2 weeks, and unfortunately today it ended up with different type of conditions, and that's probably the most pleasing part of the performance for us, is that our halfbacks and the leadership in the team were able to just flick a switch and change the plan and deliver a really accurate plan given the conditions we had. So we were delighted with that. I loved the intent the players played with. I loved the hunger they played with. I loved how tough they were, and I loved how accurate they were in that as well. In terms of our new caps, it's exciting because we actually haven't had a massive amount of injuries with Ireland in the last year. Sometimes you need an injury for someone to get a chance. So for the team to have done so well, to allow so many players to go on the lines, to give these players an opportunity is brilliant for us. And they all have a story to tell. Tommy O'Brien played against Georgia in, I think it was 2018 as an under-20 player. He's been through a lot of stuff with injuries. Other guys have had to move province to try and get game time. They've been through a lot to try and get their opportunity. So, all the playing group were delighted for them in there. But there's other guys in there that just have been dying for a chance as well, that did really well. Other guys, I suppose, have had a chance to flourish maybe as leaders because some of the other more established leaders have been gone. So from that point of view, it's been a great development opportunity for us. In terms of the Georgian team, it's funny when you get ahead in those conditions. It's a massive advantage because the other team has to chase a little bit. We went 14-0 up, and that's a big advantage in those conditions. I thought Georgia did really well through their scrum, through a few penalties to get back down. They scored a maul try against us, and at half time it was very tight, and luckily for us we scored a fantastic try after half time, and I think it really steadied the ship for us and we were able to pull away from that.
What was going on in the scrum seemed to be kind of tit for tat earlier. They got on top then, and I presume you absolutely welcome that young Irish front row getting such a test like that over here.
Yeah, it's a brilliant test for them, and there'll be a load of learning from it. It was hard to figure out exactly what was going on. There was a mixture of, sometimes it's all one thing. There was a mixture of things going on, like Tom Clarkson was backing for his bind at one stage and got penalised. So fair play to Colin. They did a look at a few scrums at half time, and they had a chat and they solved it, which is which is what you want from a coach, but it's what you want from players as well, to be such a confrontational part of the game, to be able to be clear-minded enough to come up with a solution and deliver it. So I thought they did really well in that regard.
As a player in 2007 World Cup, and honestly at that time, let's be honest, nobody really knew about Georgian rugby, pretty much anything. And now as a head coach, coaching the team against Georgia, let's say how far apart and how different those two Georgias are if you look from today's perspective. Maybe it's a less of a rugby question, but still your opinion would be very interesting.
It's hard to tell. I think one of the things that countries like Georgia do well is they come together as a team for World Cups. They get time together time with good coaches, time to build a bit of a mentality, and we've had a 2-week preparation window, but we're a pretty small country, so we get to spend a lot of time together. We get a Six Nations window together, we get a November window together, we get a summer window together, we take young players on the Emerging Ireland Tour, so time together makes a big difference to us, and I think that's what will make a difference to Georgia is getting time together. I know their coaches, they've really good coaches. Time together with good coaches, you see it at World Cups when Georgia have time together, they perform really well, and that's the same for anything else. Getting time with your players, getting games with your players, that's when they get better. When you get a game, you review a game, they go again. You get a game, you review a game, and you go again. That's when they get better. We've good contact with them in the provinces as well, which maybe you don't have, and I think that's a point of difference for us, which is having chatted to your coaches on Thursday night is something they're trying to figure out as well.